Last Tuesday was my 82nd birthday. I spent it the same way I've spent the last 10. I'm sitting on the porch watching the driveway, waiting for a car that never turned in. There's a crack in the concrete out there, right where the driveway meets the road. Martha, my wife, she used to complain about that crack every spring. She said someone would trip on it. I told her I'd fix it. Never did. Now she's gone 7 years and the crack's still there. It has grown wider now, grass growing through it. Funny how things just keep splitting open when nobody tends to them. My 3 children, David, Sarah, and young Mark, live less than 40 miles away. 40 miles. Maybe 45 if you hit that construction near the Beltline exit. They aren't bad people. Or at least, that's what I told myself for a long time. They're just busy. That's the word they use. Busy. Too busy for a 5-minute phone call to a man who worked 2 jobs for 30 years to put them through college. Too busy to swing by on a Saturday afternoon and sit in the chair their mother used to sit in. They think I'm just a lonely old man sitting on a pile of memories and a modest life insurance policy. They're waiting. I know they're waiting for the phone call from the hospital so they can finally drive over, change the locks, and see what the old man left behind. Well, they're going to get that phone call. Sooner than later, probably. My doctor, Dr. Pham, good man. Steady hands, he doesn't sugarcoat things anymore. He used to. Now he just looks at me over those little glasses and talks straight. But when my children sit down in that lawyer's office, when they lean forward expecting the number, they're going to realize that I've been much busier than they have. I need to back up, because if you're going to understand what I did, you need to understand who I was, who we were. I married Martha Ann Calloway on June 14th, 1966, at Grace Lutheran on Polk Street. The church is a dental office now, I think, or one of those places that sells smoothies. I don't drive past it anymore. Martha wore her mother's dress, taken in at the waist. She was thin then. We both were. I was 25 and working the floor at Gunderson's Hardware on 5th Avenue. You know what I made? $1.65 an hour, and I thought I was doing pretty well. We moved into the house on Ridgecrest 44, 12 Ridgecrest Lane, 2 months before David was born. Small place, 2 bedrooms. David came in 68, Sarah in 71, Mark in 74, 3 kids in 6 years. I picked up the night shift at Consolidated Printing to cover it. So I'd work hardware from 7 to 3:30, come home, eat whatever Martha had in the slow cooker, usually that beef stew that tasted like salt and nothing else. God love her, and then I'd drive across town and run the press until midnight. I did that for 11 years. 11 years of 4 hours of sleep. 11 years of falling asleep in the church pew. 11 years of Martha leaving a plate wrapped in foil on the counter because I got home after everyone was in bed. The kids didn't notice. Kids don't. They notice when there's no cereal in the cabinet. They don't notice the man who bought it. But I wasn't bitter then. I was proud. I thought, that's what a father did. You gave. They grew. And one day, they'd understand. I was wrong about that last part. The inciting incident when I opened my eyes. It really started about 3 years ago. No, wait, closer to 4. It was 2020, right when everything shut down. The pandemic. I was alone in this house. Martha had been gone 2 years by then. I had a cough, and I didn't know if it was the virus or just being old. I called David first. He's the oldest. Lives in a nice house out in Glenwood Park. Pool in the back. 2-car garage. He answered on the 4th ring. I said, "David, I'm not feeling well. I think I might need to go to the doctor, but I don't want to drive." And he said, "I'll never forget this." He said, "Dad, things are really crazy right now. Can you call an Uber or something?" An Uber. I'm 78 years old. I've never used an Uber in my life. I don't even have the app. He knows that. He just didn't want to come. I called Sarah next. She didn't pick up. Texted me back 2 hours later. "Sorry, Dad. Saw your call. Everything okay?" With one of those little yellow smiley faces at the end. I didn't respond. She didn't follow up. Mark, my youngest, the one I coached in Little League for 3 summers, the one I drove to college orientation in Flagstaff, 8 hours each way, in a truck with no air conditioning. He said he'd try to come by that weekend. He didn't come. I sat in Martha's sewing room that night. It's small, barely fits the chair and the little table with her pincushion still on it. The cushion's shaped like a tomato. Red fabric, faded almost pink now. I held it in my hand and I talked to her picture on the wall. "Martha, what did we do wrong?" She just smiled at me from 1989. That picture was taken at David's 8th grade graduation. She's wearing that blue blouse with the buttons that were always coming loose. She looks happy. She looks like she thinks everything turned out fine. I cried that night. Hard. The kind of crying that hurts your ribs. The kind where your face gets so wet you can taste the salt on your lips. I cried a lot of nights after that. But then, about 6 months later, I stopped. I didn't stop because it got better. I stopped because something clicked, like a switch in a dark room. If I'm just a bank account to them, if I'm just the balance at the bottom of a ledger they check once a year, then maybe I should start acting like a banker. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button yet, do that now, and like this video to help my voice reach more people. Here's what none of them know. In 2014, I sold the family business, Gunderson's. I bought it from old Hal Gunderson back in '83 when he had his stroke. Ran it for 31 years. When I sold it, the kids assumed I got a modest payout, a nice little retirement fund. That's what I let them think. The truth? The building and the land it sat on, that corner lot on 5th and Monroe, sold for just over $1.2 million. The business itself, the inventory, the accounts, another $340,000. And I didn't spend it. I didn't buy a boat. I didn't move to Florida. I sat in this house with the cracked driveway, and I called a financial advisor named Gerald Pratt. Jerry, good man. Doesn't talk too much. I like that. Jerry put me into a mix of things I don't fully understand: index funds, municipal bonds, some kind of real estate trust. I didn't ask many questions. I just told him, make it grow quiet. And it did. By the time the pandemic hit, that money had nearly doubled. I had more money sitting in accounts my children didn't know existed than any of them would earn in the next 20 years. And they were telling me to call an Uber. So, here's what I did. I called my lawyer, Mr. Henderson. Been with him since he was a junior associate and I was filing my first business license. He's 70 now himself. White hair, liver spots on his hands. But his mind is a steel trap. I sat across from his desk. It's one of those big wooden ones, the kind that smells like lemon polish and old paper, and I told him what I wanted. He took off his glasses, set them on the desk, looked at me. "Are you sure?" I said, "I've never been more sure of anything in my 82 years. The will." I'm not going to tell you every detail. That's between me and Mr. Henderson and a filing cabinet in his office on Decatur Street. But I'll tell you the broad strokes. David, Sarah, and Mark, each of them will receive exactly $1,000. That's it. 1,000. Enough that they can't say, I forgot them. Enough that they can't contest it easily. Mr. Henderson was very specific about that. Don't leave them zero, he said. Leave them just enough that a judge will see it was intentional. The rest, the bulk of it, goes to 3 places. First, the children's wing at St. Andrew's Hospital. That's where Martha spent her last 4 months. The nurses there, Janelle, Rosa, a young man named Corey, they held her hand when her own children couldn't make the drive. They talked to her. They brushed her hair. They did what David and Sarah and Mark should have done. So they'll get a new wing with Martha's name on it. Second, a scholarship fund. For kids at Ridgecrest Elementary, the school all 3 of mine attended. Full ride, books, supplies, everything. For kids whose parents are working 2 jobs and falling asleep in church pews. Kids who deserve a shot. Third, and this is the one that keeps me up at night, a letter. Each of them gets a letter. I've written them already. 3 envelopes, sealed, sitting in Mr. Henderson's safe. I'm not going to tell you what's in those letters either, but I'll tell you this. They're not angry. I thought they would be when I started writing them. I sat down at the kitchen table with a pen and that yellow legal pad I've had for years, the one with the coffee ring on the cover, and I thought I'd let them have it. Every missed birthday, every ignored phone call, every holiday I spent eating a turkey sandwich alone while they posted pictures of their big dinners online. But when the pen hit the paper, what came out was different. It was just sad, quiet sad, the kind where you're not yelling. You're just telling someone what it felt like to stand at a window and watch the road and know in your bones that nobody was coming. I told David about the time I drove to his office to surprise him for lunch, and the receptionist said he was in meetings all day. I saw him through the glass 20 minutes later, eating a sandwich at his desk. Alone. He just didn't want to see me. I told Sarah about the birthday card she sent 2 years ago. It was blank inside except for her signature. Not even love. Just Sarah. I kept it. It's in the kitchen drawer, next to the rubber bands and the scissors with the orange handles. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe so I'd remember I wasn't making it up. I told Mark the least. Because Mark hurts the most. Mark was my boy. The one who used to fall asleep on my chest on Sunday afternoons while the game was on. The one who cried when I dropped him off at college. He grabbed my shirt right here at the collar and he said, I'll call you every week, Dad. He meant it then. I believe that. He just stopped meaning it somewhere along the way. It's late now. Almost 10. The porch light's on. Bugs are hitting the bulb. You can hear that little tap, tap, tap sound they make over and over, like they think this time it'll be different. The driveway is empty again tonight. I'm going to go inside, lock the door, take my pills, the blue one, the white one, the little round one I can never remember the name of. I'll put the glass in the sink. I'll turn off the kitchen light and walk down the hallway past Martha's sewing room. I won't go in tonight. I've said everything I need to say to her. The world thinks people like me are just waiting to be finished, just running out the clock in a recliner. But we see everything. We see the greed. We see the neglect. We see the way they calculate, the way they smile at Thanksgiving and then don't call again until tax season. I want to say something to anyone listening who still has a father sitting on a porch somewhere. Call him. Not because of what might be in his will. Not because you feel guilty. Call him, because one day that porch is going to be empty. And the silence that comes after, it's not peaceful. I'm going to bed now. The driveway's empty. The bugs are still hitting the light. The crack in the concrete is still there, a little wider than last spring. But for the first time in 10 years, I think I'm going to sleep with my face relaxed. Not smiling, exactly. That's not the right word. Just unclenched. Like something behind my ribs finally let go of whatever it was holding on to. It is one of the best I've ever felt. Anyways, Mr. Henderson has the envelopes now. The papers are signed, decision made. And I am finished. Not gone, not yet, but finished. Good night, Martha. I'll fix that crack tomorrow. Probably not. Hope to finally see you again.